Well, maybe you have dreams of a better life. Maybe even just being a little bit better, 1% better than yesterday. Well, my next author thinks way bigger than 1%. He wants you to live an extraordinary life. His name is Robert White. He wrote the book Living an Extraordinary Life. Robert, welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's wonderful to be with you.
It is wonderful to have you. It's not just living an extraordinary life. It goes on to say unlocking your potential for success, joy, and fulfillment. I'll take that. That's a good day.
Uh, I think I wanted to add that just based on my personal experience, my life experience, which was I achieved incredible success that I never dreamed of. I'm living in a 14,500 square foot home in Aspen, Colorado. I'm skiing 80 days a year. I've got my own jet. And I'm waking up in the morning realizing that God was not finished with me, that there was something I was supposed to do. And that also got mirrored to me by my friend, the late John Denver. And I realized that what was missing in my own life was joy and satisfaction. So for about the last 10 years and concurrent with the publishing of the book, that I've been adding that to whatever success I enjoy.
Always one more day to live extraordinary. I have to wonder if some of this book is about you because I mean you've had amazing success. You've traveled the world. You have famous friends. You've helped over 1 million people graduate to better their life. So you're giving back. I mean, how much of this book is about you?
Very, very little directly.
Okay.
And that's actually a question people had. I was so nervous when I released the book. I had avoided it for 20 years of people telling me you should write a book about your work. And then when people that I really respect opened up and said, boy, I love your book and I want to buy copies for my family and all that, I felt so good. And then they would say, but I'm disappointed. And of course I would say, in what? And they would say, because the book is not about you, about your extraordinary life. And actually, I don't think that would be the best book. I think the best book is the one I wrote, which is it's about our graduates and their interaction with the material in our programs. And that's been encouraging. One chapter is about me, doesn't say that, but we deal a lot in our trainings and in the book with the power of conscious and unconscious beliefs.
Okay.
And one of the chapters is titled, You Are Not Enough, the most common limiting belief for people in the developed world. And that was true for me. That chapter is about me. I've betrayed the secret now.
So what is the secret sauce to overcoming that voice, that narrative that we hear in our own minds? Tell us the secret to life for an extraordinary life.
My former wife has a lot of wisdom. And part of that wisdom is my company's name and the structure of the book is it's about awareness, ARC, awareness, responsibility, and communication. And she defines awareness a little bit differently, which I have to acknowledge her for. She says it's developing a higher state of noticing. Just noticing what are the patterns, the behavioral patterns that you have, the attitudinal patterns, the habits that you have. When you start noticing your life, there's a built-in algorithm, to use the latest term from computers, that makes you get better. As long as you're not noticing it, you don't change. Wow. So if there's a secret sauce, it doesn't depend on my book or on our trainings. And that is to develop that higher state of noticing, to really be in tune with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and how you're behaving, and the feedback from other people about that.
Robert, that word extraordinary it's pretty risky. Couldn't you have just said living a little bit better life? I mean, you put a lot on the line when you use that big word, don't you think? You're kind of vulnerable. Like that's a high goal.
And if you talk to people that are somewhat steeped in Buddhism, they really don't like it because because everybody's the same and all of that. Okay. My experience is that when you try to change gradually, we have a tremendous ability to resist change. We want to stay safe. We want our image to stay safe. And therefore, it shuts off any meaningful personal growth. And so if you take a look at your life and when did you grow the most, it might have been at work when you set some outrageous goal that nobody thought you could achieve. And then your team did it. And that you stretched yourself beyond what you normally can do. If I start, and this is from martial arts, I do the exercise and the training. I ask people to hold up a hand, and then I hold up my hand against it. And then I'll start applying just a little bit of pressure. And what do you think they do?
Do they give?
Never.
Or do they push back?
They push back.
Oh.
And then I ask them, I didn't give you the instruction to push back. Why did you push back? Well, that's that natural resistance to change. And I learned that from a good friend of mine, Tom Crum, the author of Magic of Conflict. And he's a super black belt or something like that in Aikido. And he uses that as a demonstration of our resistance to change. Any gradual attempt at changing tends to generate all that resistance in us. We're afraid of change.
That is powerful. There's nothing like jumping in a cold lake in the north in January to get your attention and to have you reconsider what you're doing in life, right?
That's true.
So just share with me real quick. There is a faith message to this there, isn't there?
Well, and during the trainings and writing the book, I made a conscious decision that I don't want the resistance from fundamental religion, whether that be fundamental Muslims or Christians or Buddhists or Jews. It's aimed at the average person. But people constantly come up to me and say, I really got some stuff out of the way so that my faith is more alive for me. I got my blame or shame or regret or guilt handled. And it's true that a deep dive into any religion will do the same thing for you.
Sure.
But it's usually not packaged and available for the average person. And so that's kind of the purpose of the book, is get any dysfunctional belief, any dysfunctional habit or pattern out of the way so that you can grow closer to God.
So we've got about a minute left. Who would you say is your biggest audience as far as buying this book? Is it those of us that are feeling really bad about ourselves and feel like we have such a tall mountain to climb? Or is it people who are already, on the top of the mountain and just want to jump up a little higher, or somebody in between? Who's buying this?
Suzanne, it's now a bestseller. And so I have a lot of feedback. So I'm going to straddle the fence on this. Two kinds of people, it seems to me, get value from my book. One is people that are experiencing some problems. Their patterns, their habits, their belief systems are not serving them to live the extraordinary life that they were born to live. That's one group of people that are having a bit of trouble. The other group are people on the growing edge. They're clear about what they want to create in their life. Maybe it's a new business, maybe it's a new family, a new relationship, and are dealing with loss, something that I've been dealing with this week. But that they see a brighter future and they know they need to slightly rewire themselves to take advantage of that opportunity. And so that's an interesting dichotomy. Those are two very different people, but that's what seems to be true. It is true that people that, are very accomplished, love my book. And I like that a lot.
I love that too. Robert, where's your book available?
Well, certainly on my website, extraordinarypeople.com. Through that avenue, you can get a signed book. And certainly on Amazon. And of course, the digital version, the Kindle, is available on Amazon.com.
It's wonderful. Robert White, Living an Extraordinary Life, Unlocking Your Potential for Success, Joy, and Fulfillment. Robert, thanks for joining us today.
It's wonderful to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.